Imagine waking up on just a totally normal morning, right? The birds are singing, the sun is shining, and you're just getting ready to start your day. But then, out of absolutely nowhere, something impossible happens. The ground beneath you literally jolts. The sky seems to freeze. And in an instant, the whole shebang, everything you know about our perfect, beautiful planet, completely changes.
What if the Earth, our giant cosmic home, just slammed on the brakes and stopped spinning altogether? I mean, we're talking about oceans flying across continents, super powerful winds tearing through cities, and people suddenly being thrown completely sideways. It sounds exactly like the plot of some intense sci-fi movie, right? But what would actually happen? Would the planet survive? Would we survive? Well, let's dive right into this explainer and find out exactly how this wild science mystery would unfold. Okay, so to understand the disaster, we first got to understand what the Earth is actually doing right now. You see, our planet is basically a giant rocky basketball, and it is spinning constantly. And I don't just mean a slow, lazy spin either. If you are standing near the equator right now, you are currently spinning at an incredible 1,670 kilometers per hour. That is literally faster than the speed of sound. But wait a second, if we're spinning that incredibly fast, why aren't we all dizzy? Why don't we feel it at all? To understand why we don't feel the spin, think about being in a car, driving really fast down a super smooth highway. If your eyes are closed, you barely feel like you're moving, right? You can sip your juice box without spilling a single drop because you, the car, and your juice are all moving at the exact same speed together. But what happens if the driver suddenly spots a squirrel and just slams on the brakes? The car stops, but you and your juice want to keep moving forward. You get thrown right against your seatbelt. Well, if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning, it would be the exact same thing, just on a massive planetary scale. Which brings us to the terrifying reality of what happens when the Earth hits those cosmic brakes. Section 1. The first chaotic second.
Literally 1 second after the Earth stops, the ground halts, but everything that's not bolted tightly to the deep bedrock, the air, the oceans, cars, buildings, and well, us, keeps moving sideways at hundreds of miles per hour. Just imagine this. Winds moving faster than a flying airplane instantly sweeping across the continents. These winds would be so powerful, they'd flatten forests and easily destroy cities in a blink. At the exact same time, the mighty oceans would keep moving forward too, creating giant mega tsunamis that would instantly wash over coastlines all around the globe. It would be, hands down, the most epic and destructive second in the history of our planet.
Section 2. Extreme weather and new oceans. But hey, let's just imagine we somehow survive that terrifying first second and the winds finally die down. What happens next? Well, we'd face a massive new problem, because the Earth we know is completely gone, replaced by a bizarre new world. You see, the Earth spinning is what gives us our normal day and night cycle. Without it, the sun doesn't rise and set every 24 hours anymore. Nope. Instead, one half of the Earth gets stuck facing the sun for 6 entire months. That side would become a boiling, burning hot desert, where lakes dry up and stepping outside feels literally like stepping into a giant oven. Meanwhile, the other half of the Earth is trapped facing deep space. It gets zero sunlight for 6 whole months. It would become a frozen, dark wasteland, where rivers freeze solid and snow bury cities in endless darkness.
And you know, if a half fiery, half frozen world isn't wild enough for you, let's take a look at the map. So the really crucial point here is that the Earth's fast spinning currently acts kind of like a giant invisible mixer, pulling ocean water toward the middle, right around the equator. But if that spin stops, the water just falls away. The oceans would actually migrate. Massive amounts of water would rush away from the middle of the Earth and flood toward the North and South poles. And as the water drains away from the equator, get this, a brand new, giant supercontinent would rise up out of the ocean, wrapping all the way around the middle of the globe. The map of Earth would look like a completely alien planet.
Section 3. What happens to gravity?
Now here's the scary part, a question that almost always comes up when we talk about the Earth losing its spin. With the Earth stopped and the oceans moving and the weather going totally out of control, what happens to our gravity? I mean, if the spin completely stops, do we lose our grip on the planet? Does everything, including us, just slowly start floating away into the dark, freezing vacuum of space? Thankfully, the answer is a massive no. You would not float away. Gravity is the invisible force that pulls objects toward the center of the Earth, and it's actually caused by how much mass or stuff the Earth is made of, not by how fast it's spinning. So, even perfectly still, the Earth is incredibly huge and heavy, which means its gravity is going absolutely nowhere. you'd still be stuck firmly to the ground. However, gravity and shape would shift just a tiny, tiny bit. Have you ever seen a chef throw pizza dough into the air and spin it? As it spins really fast, it flattens out and bulges at the edges, right? Well, Earth does the exact same thing. Our planet is slightly bulged out around the middle because of its fast spin. If the Earth stopped spinning, it would relax back into a more perfect round ball shape, just like resting pizza dough. And because of this slight change in shape, you might actually weigh a tiny bit more at the equator than you do right now. Crazy, right?
Section 4. Could humans actually survive?
So, with a planet that is half boiling, half freezing, and filled with terrifying new oceans, could human beings actually use their amazing brains and technology to survive on this bizarre version of Earth? Well, scientists believe that humans are incredibly adaptable. To survive the extreme heat and cold, we couldn't just live in normal houses anymore, obviously. We would have to get really creative. We might build advanced high-tech cities entirely underground where the temperature is super stable. Or maybe we'd engineer giant protective sci-fi domes over our cities. If we wanted to go outside, we'd probably have to wear space-like survival suits just to protect us from the crazy temperatures and radiation. But you know the smartest place to live? Right on the border between the hot sun side and the freezing dark side. In this narrow little strip, locked in permanent twilight, humans could build massive solar-powered outposts, catching the sun's rays to keep our new strange world running.
Section 5. The real science and future.
Okay, take a deep breath. Let's step out of the sci-fi movie for a second and talk about the real comforting facts here. Will any of this actually happen tomorrow morning? The good news is, absolutely not. It is scientifically impossible for the Earth to just suddenly slam on the brakes. There's no giant hand in space to stop us. But the Earth is actually slowing down, just incredibly slowly. Because of the gravitational pull of our moon acting like a tiny, gentle brake over billions of years, our planet's spin is getting slower. In fact, millions of years ago, when the mighty T-Rex roamed the Earth, a day wasn't 24 hours long. It was only about 23 hours. And millions of years in the future, the days will slowly get even longer. But it's happening so slowly that we will never, ever feel it.
When you look at all of this, it's pretty amazing to realize just how lucky we are. The Earth's perfect spinning speed gives us gentle weather, beautiful oceans that stay exactly where they belong, and the wonderful, steady rhythm of sunrise and sunset. It's the reason life can easily thrive everywhere on the globe. It really reminds us that sometimes the most ordinary things, like the sun coming up in the morning, are actually incredible, delicate balances of science that keep us safe every single day.
And that is the wild truth of what would happen if the Earth stopped spinning. If you enjoyed exploring this bizarre alternate world, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss an adventure, and leave a comment below telling us what other crazy science mystery should we explore in our next explainer. Keep wondering, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.